Yeah, so we're excited to make the Cloud CTF available to all the Virginia Cyber Range users this fall. Should be a great tool to promote engagement in the remote learning environment. For this session, I'd like to go quickly, but we'd like to get just show you how to create a CTF from the exercise area. We want to explain the admin menus in a little more detail than I don't know if anyone attended yesterday's. Dr. Raymond did a CTF workshop, and towards the end he went over a few of the details, but I'm going to hit those with a little more detail. Also, we're going to try to get everyone promoted to an administrator and get people to get some practice creating challenges. We'll have everyone log into the Playground CTF, and we'll promote you while I'm going through these slides. Some other reminders: the closing remarks and CTF winners are announced at 4:15, which is right after this session. So I'm going to try to get through these slides pretty quickly so I can open the floor for questions and help anyone with any issues they have as an administrator. So in the Whova app, I've linked the Playground CTF we're going to be using, and I made it available for public registration. So if you'd like to follow along, you can join there. It's in the chat. I also posted it at the top of the supplemental materials in the Whova app. The Cloud CTF admin guide has this link at the top also. So let's get started. So I'm sharing my screen. This is like your typical login view from the exercise area. You get to the course listing page, and you can see what courses are available. In this course, I've already spun up the Playground CTF, but I just want to note that in the fall, when you create an exercise environment, after we release this, CTF will show up among the other exercise environments available to everyone. So essentially, it's exactly the same as spinning up any other VM. To access the CTF, you just simply click the play button. And then from here, it'll open another window, and basically you'll have the same experience that you've had so far. So I'm going to jump into the admin menus. So the main difference being there's an admins tab in the nav bar, and that's how you get to all the extra functionality that you'll have as an administrator versus just a regular player participant. So from the competition settings page, all of these boxes are typically unchecked by default. And so this allow public registration box is important because this is what allows you to kind of scope the players to either be just the users from your course versus anyone who goes to this link that can log in with an OpenID provider being able to participate. So that this checkbox is very important, but everything else should be pretty self-explanatory. This one here, allow unregistered users to view the scoreboard. Just basically, if you, for whatever reason, if you want to allow, show your scoreboard from a different link without having any authorization, you can do that here. So competition name, self-explanatory. So the start and end time basically limits the window for which players can submit flags to your competition. So before the start time, you'll just end up at a countdown page as a player. You won't be able to list the challenges yet. You won't be able to submit any flags to a challenge. And then the same goes for after the end time. So down to the millisecond, if you're submitting a flag towards the end of a competition, there is a hard cutoff at the end time. And we are going to have more than 2 themes in the future, but for now we just have the default theme you're seeing at the competition CTF, and then this is the simple theme that we're looking at now. So moving on to the players tab. All right, we got some people in here. So Lee is our senior cloud architect is here also. I'm going to have him, if he's in addition to answering any QA throughout this session, I'd like him to go ahead and start promoting people in the background so that when we get to the challenge creation, we can have people play with it themselves. So from this page, you have a general list of everyone in the competition. The main use case for this page, though, is to you can create someone, you can promote someone to an admin from this page. You can edit the player details. If you want to have a different display name from whatever gets, because these values will be kind of, populated automatically by the information that's already made available in the exercise area. So if you want to change that or hide certain information, you can do that here. Also important, it's the players tab where you can put someone onto a different team, right? So if I wanted to put Andy onto Ashley's team for whatever reason, you can do that from the players tab. Players, as they join, if you have the checkbox checked from the competition settings, they can also choose, what team they'd like to be on if that's how you want to set up your competition, but it's flexible. This is how, as an admin, moving other players between teams, that's here. So that's an important thing to remember. Try to think if there's anything else in particular I want to cover about this page. Don't think so.
Talk about
right.
The star rating.
The star rating is going to be, so the star rating is essentially showing the player statistics in terms of their attempts for all challenges they've attempted in this. So these will fill up for players who have a higher success rate over attempt, if that's information you want to track in terms of making teams fair or in the future, etc. But that's the stars are kind of a theme on all the lists here that sort of just give you at a glance how well an individual or a team is doing.
It also might tell you who's just trying to guess the answers.
Right. And depending on the challenges that you have in your competition, some of them might be tough and require a lot of different, a lot of guesses here. One thing else I want to remember, if you need to eliminate a player from competition, this is also where you do it. That delete button will kick them out. And if open registration is off, they won't be able to register from there. However, if you remove a player from a competition, but they're still in a course and the competition is connected to the course, they'll be able to make another player. So, if someone comes in here and makes a mistake or ends up on the wrong team and you just want to start over, you can just hit delete and have them start over here too. That's an angle you want to take. So use case from the Teams tab. Again, just editing general information. You can view each member from a specific team, their individual contribution, right? So, from here and generally from the scoreboard, you're seeing how well an entire team is doing. And if you're interested in, which members from that team are doing better than others, you could do that from the Teams tab. But again, if you need to delete a team, all the members will remain in the competition. They'll just be required to select another team before they start answering challenges again. And then also, if you're editing a team, you can remove individual members from a team here too, and change a team name, etc. So this feature, hide from the scoreboard, was created to allow, because when you're an administrator and you join, you're going to click play solo and it's going to make you a player and it's going to make you a team. But that's really sort of to allow administrators to create challenges, put in their regular expressions, test them, and then, so you're going to end up creating submissions and getting points. And if you don't want your test cases to be on the scoreboard, you can just hide it from here. So that's sort of the purpose of the hide from scoreboard. Allow you to test challenges without kind of messing up the competition. So yesterday, Dr. Raymond mentioned that when you're making challenges, it's just like, it's tricky to get, you might create a challenge you think is really tough, but then everyone gets it right away, or the opposite, you think you got an easy one up there and no one seems to get it right. So this statistics tab is basically a feedback mechanism to allow you to see how well the entire field is doing for a specific challenge. So if you may see a challenge in here that has like a zillion failed attempts and no success. You're like, well, maybe there's a typo in my regex, so you might want to double check that. But that's this page is basically just to see how people are doing on each challenge. Now, I think the best feature is the library, which allows you to save challenges and import them into future competitions. And so I'm going to be moving forward towards the challenge kind of editing and creating tabs, but I just want to point out that whether you're creating a challenge here from the challenge page, or editing an existing challenge, or editing a library item, they're all the same. Sort of the flow of those menus are all the same, but it's important to remember that when you use the library to create a challenge, it'll be available from the drop-down list when you're importing challenges into future competitions.
So you should put it in the library if you want to keep it, and you should, if you just want to use a one-off, you can just add it directly in challenges, right?
Indeed. If you add it directly in challenges, it's a one-off. You can make an instance of your library item into a specific challenge. But if you want to, save it for later, this is where you put it. So I'm going to start with the challenge tabs, but I just want to see, yes, we've got lots of admins. So just some friendly reminders. This whole exercise was designed to allow you all to create some challenges, make some flags and play with the hints, etc. So I would just request that we don't tinker with the settings, or kick each other off of their teams. Let's just try to, on our system here and just play with the challenge creation flow, so that we don't end up booting each other and having a bad time. And also don't upload Iron Man 4K as an artifact for the challenges, but we're going to end up cleaning this up anyway. But it'll be less work for Lee if you don't put Iron Man 4K.
Can you demo making a library challenge for those that don't want to do it themselves?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to do that right now.
So I'll just go ahead and say everybody that was in the list should be an admin now, and I'll keep monitoring that to add more admins. But if you don't want to go through the whole process yourself, then follow along here with the stream, and Greg will show you how you can add a challenge.
And also, if you're having trouble seeing the admin menus, you may want to log out and back in, because if you've already logged in as a player, you'll need to refresh your token before you get the access to the menus that you'll see here. But again, if you're having any issues, you can throw those into the Whova app chat, and Lee will follow up. Lee or Nick can follow up with you there. So you have when you're creating a challenge, you have basically four tabs, and then we'll show you how to import this challenge into the competition. So yeah, demo challenge 2, make a name here, and this text is available to everyone. And then you can determine the point value if you need to. And then you can add, I think, up to 10 answers, but it does support regular expressions. So if you want to add a flag, and so this is answer, right? And then you can be like, oh, I might want it to be caps. Yeah, so it's just a flexible mechanism so that you can have it. I think I've seen a lot of so when we imported some of the pre-existing challenges from CTFD, we saw that it's just a way to prevent people getting it wrong due to white space, et cetera. You got like a IP address you're putting in here that you wanted to convert into binary, and some people leave the punctuation or put some spacing. You can just use a regular expression.
Anyone who's familiar with regex knows how much of a nightmare it can be to deal with regex. But if you want to provide this capability without going through regex, you can enter in a whole lot of different string options to try and get all the use cases. But sometimes that might be more work than just trying to get that regex expression. Like, a string match, I don't think we're considering case sensitivity. So if somebody puts in answer in all caps and you don't have a string of answer in all caps, then, that's not something that we'll accept, because we don't know if the case sensitivity matters for the purposes of your challenge. So it's very free for you all to do what you want with these challenges. And we are assuming on the side of strictness. And regex is a great way to kind of bend that a little bit and try and match more student use cases. But obviously, it can take a little bit more time to make a regex expression than a simple string.
So the hint feature allows you to, provide some additional information to solve a challenge, but at a cost. So if you're adding a hint, some hint about this challenge, you can make it cost a certain value, and then players can use their points they score from other challenges to unlock hints in harder challenges. The artifacts allow you to put either a link or a file connected to your challenge. So this is where you would put your your network traffic, or Pika file or something that you're wanting to sort of contain or a link to a web application that is vulnerable, that basically the substance of the challenge can be connected to connected here, and then all of this stuff should be relatively self-explanatory. This just, we got a Jeopardy style CTF, so this is really, we got some people making things. Great. So we got, so this is where, that's in the library, that's right. So it'll be all the categories. You just determine the grouping of your challenge, which column you want it to show up in, and maximum number of attempts, just so, I don't know if anyone you want people not to brute force the infrastructure, and to get a challenge right, we can cut them off at 100 tries.
Yeah, like say you give them you can essentially give them a multiple choice here. Like, is it A, B, C, D, or E? And you get 2 tries.
Right, yeah. So tags allow you to map, if you want to search a challenge by something, I think Dr. Raymond demoed this, but you can add your own tag here, and allow when you're searching for this to import into the CTF, you can search by the tags, or you could map it to the various knowledge units and knowledge skills abilities, so that you can track proficiencies, like what proficiencies are required to solve a challenge you're working on. So I'm going to go ahead and create this just for the sake of demo challenge number 2. All right, so we'll go back to the challenges tab, and here, great, we got someone added one. So we've got a few. All right, so this demo challenge I made earlier, I also put the slides into this challenge. If anyone couldn't get the slides from Hoover, they're also available on the demo challenge to download them. So just to kind of reiterate what I showed earlier, if you edit a challenge, you end up with the same 4 menus, and when you edit things from this tab, you're only editing this instance. So I'm going to show you the library now. So when you press the create button here, you can add a challenge from scratch, just go right to the 4 menus, or you can pick one from the library. And in the library is a list of global challenges available to everyone, along with mixed in with your own challenges that you created. So there's demo challenge 2 that I just saved to the library in this video. But so this is just where you would select challenges to add to your competition. So even if you choose one from the library, you might want to make a small modification. And if you're making modifications here, again, they're only going to change for this competition. So, you can use one from last year and maybe change a few things, just, kind of like lower the effort into creating a challenge if you want to pull from the library. Then again, if you're editing challenges directly from the library, those will be changed for all subsequent instances of those library items. So I think I've covered the basics of the admin menus. And I believe all of the other features of the CTF are available to play with just as a participant. So we're going to leave this playground challenge or this playground CTF up for like a couple days. And, we're kind of taking the Apple Store model. We just want you to play with it and create some challenges and just so that you can get used to the interface. Like I said earlier, this is slated probably sometime in the next couple months for Virginia Cyber Range users, and then shortly after for the US Cyber Range users. Hey, all right, thank you. So at this time, I think I'm just going to open the floor for questions. I know it looks like you've got a few going already. And, this isn't a huge group. How many participants do we have? So if anyone has a specific question, I'd be happy to answer them now. But it's about 3:55. So we've got about 20 minutes until the closing statements. But I'd like to encourage you to play around with the range as an admin.
Yeah, no, I'll go ahead and start answering some of these questions live, if that's all right, Greg.
Yeah, please.
So yes, anyone who's still jumping onto the stream late, if you jump in here, you'll get promoted to admin. It might take a few minutes and you might need to refresh your page, but you will get a promotion here. For statistics on student progress, you as an instructor will be able to see the basic statistical information of your students. There isn't currently a capability to stitch together multiple classes and whatnot, but you will be able to see that how many attempts a student or team makes and how many of them are successful. And if you're using the library will keep track of how easy or difficult that challenge probably is, but it's fuzzy information, but it can give you kind of a trend. Obviously if somebody goes and hammers against it and does, 2,000 attempts, that might throw off your statistics, but it still gives you a general idea. On the flags case sensitivity for strings, it has to be exactly right, case and everything. That's correct. But you can add multiple flags to the challenge so that you can try and handle like simple case sensitivity checks. Like if you're not sure if they're gonna make the first character capital or not, because it's perhaps a word or it's a name, then you can enter the name in with 4 or 5 different string values for the flag, and then set it to be with capital letters for the name or for the first letters or not. So you can play with it and have multiple in there. The other solution is to use regex. If you do use regex, we obviously suggest that you test your regex expression to make sure that it's accurate, because regex is itself a little tricky to work with sometimes. As for there being no sound, I don't know why the sound would have cut out. So hopefully it still
looks
works.
like that one got resolved by refreshing the page.
Excellent. So I believe as of the time that all that conversation was going on, like as of right now, everybody should have been an admin. I'm sure Nick's probably still checking that.
Yes.
Let's see.
Yeah, and Greg, you can see it's also adding some in the live stream. One question that I think was asked earlier that I don't know if it's been addressed yet is a repository to share challenges. I know you mentioned the library, but not necessarily how those are shared in an organization or globally.
So currently there's a global library that is challenges that are made by the cyber range, us. We are super happy to get help from instructors across the state to make these challenges. Anyone who's ever done this knows that it actually is a lot of effort to put in some of these very difficult challenges for students. And we're not necessarily the subject matter experts in every possible field of cybersecurity that you could possibly be testing. So if you're an expert, send David Raymond or our office in general just an email and let us know that you'd like to work with us. We do have some considerations that we throw in for trying to ensure that we can make a stable application. We obviously don't want to have one web server running that hosts this vulnerability, and then if that server gets, if somebody gets access to that server as part of the challenge, they can destroy the flag, right? So there's still some considerations we need to make there. Let's see. We will try to continue to add challenges to the Virginia Cyber Range. I think we've historically added somewhere around 20 to 40 every year as we've been doing our Virginia Cyber, our Cyber Fusion Challenge competition every year. We try to bring in interns to help out with that. We had a little shortage this year because of the some issues. We're expecting to have issues now because of COVID-19, or if we're going to be able to get more student interns to help out with some of the easier challenges. So if you're interested in helping us out, that would be great. Let's see. If you're trying to access the challenges, oh, he found it. Okay, yes, it's in the admin library section.
There is also someone just asking about the changes from this to, or from CTFT to this, if there's any new standout features you wanted to highlight. I'm not sure how.
I think the main features that we handle scoring, we handle students individually. CTFD considered everything a team. And if you wanted to have 5 players playing together on one team, you had to share usernames and passwords, which as a cybersecurity organization, that sounds like the worst thing in the world, right? So this system is designed to properly enforce the good security practices. We can track people individually as well as putting them onto teams. And if they're on a team, they still log in individually. So that's probably one of the main features that we really wanted to get here is this ability to have better control over the teams. This also has, I think we've done a good job trying to design this library in such a way that we can hopefully promote some sharing and whatnot. Hopefully at some point in the future, if you're working with another instructor, we can make it easier for you to share challenges directly with each other. If that's a feature that you're really interested in, definitely make us aware that is something that you want, so we can help prioritize all of the feature requests that people give us. And I think aside from the library and the teams, the only other big advantages of this platform over CTFD is that this is an on-demand, you request it and you get it within seconds service. So CTFD required a lot of back-end work to make it work. And even though we automated a lot of it, it still required a human intervention to spin up all the services and get it up and running. This will be literally, you could make a request at 2 a.m. And if you've already been vetted as a instructor in the Virginia Cyber Range, then you can just go ahead and make it on demand. The US Cyber Range, for anyone who's listening from the US Cyber Range, we're going to have this come on board shortly thereafter, but there is the question of how to pay for it, and there's still some work there to add that into the US Cyber Range as an offering. So, but that will hopefully follow immediately after we get this into the Virginia Cyber Range. We hire, for hiring students, There's no requirement that you have to be a VT student. We already have a student from Radford, and I know that we have, there's often confusion about Virginia Cyber Range and our relationship with Virginia Tech. We are a state-funded and essentially independent entity that has been attached to Virginia Tech. We're very happy that we're working with Virginia Tech. They've provided us a lot of support and being able to leverage things like their HR systems and existing IT infrastructures and people resources are a huge help. But our customers is the entire state. This isn't a Virginia Tech, company that's serving the state. We're our own, state entity essentially, and you all are our customers. We just happen to be employees of Virginia Tech because somebody in Richmond decided that would be the best idea to do it. So I can't speak too much on that politics though, but you all are our customers. That's our opinion. As for internships, I would definitely, I think we have an opportunities or careers link on our homepage, and that would be where I would go to get that information. As for getting early access to this, I think Greg's pretty much already said, and talk to Dr. Raymond. He's kind of the gatekeeper to this right now, because we want to make sure that, if there's any issues or caveats with what you're trying to do, we probably would not recommend this for a big 200-person CTF as of like right now, and you're doing the competition tomorrow and there's prizes involved and lots of people. This is still, this is still what we consider in beta, which is why we're controlling it a little bit more. It is pretty much fully functional, but we've only had 3 large tests in the 200 user range so far. We've definitely learned a lot, and we're making improvements. In fact, it's getting better every day pretty much. So that's our caveat there. Was there any other questions, or did I get everything?
One just came in about changing categories. I'm assuming for specific challenges.
Oh yeah,
should be able to change categories. So
yep.
Yeah, if you want to demo
this is
that.
in the right. So this challenge is in the demo category. So I think if I just, where is this? I think I can just put it into math and then confirm. And now it's over here, demo challenge. And that would change. Category is really just to have it grouped, have the columns grouped as you want them to appear, which challenges appear under which column. And again, changing them here will not change them in the library.
You can create a new category simply by typing whatever you want that category to be. Right. And if it doesn't exist, it will be automatically added to the system.
Be careful.
Sorry, I was answering the question of, yeah, how do you add a new category? He's demoing it right now. You literally type the value that you want and it becomes a new category. It is important to note that all these changes that you just made are on the challenges page. So when you start deviating your CTF challenge, that can separate it from the library item that
oh yeah. So yeah, let me cover that real quickly.
Sure.
Right, so from the admins tab, we showed the statistics that kind of shows you, at a glance, you can sort these columns, see that the demo challenge is indeed very hard. It's only 2 out of 15. So if you go to the library, the correct submissions will be tracked here across CTFs. So if you use the same demo challenge in all your annual CTFs and all the courses, you'll get statistics on this across in terms of success versus fail attempts across all competitions. And I think what Lee wanted to say was, so part of what Lee was getting at is if you deviate your challenge in a specific CTF basically, if you change anything other than the point value, if you're adding flags or adding hints, making adjustment that make it fundamentally different from the library, then that data in terms of correctness won't be added to the across CTF statistics. Sorry, I kind of derailed you there for a second, but I wanted to.
Yeah, that's definitely what I was trying to allude to. Yeah, because if you're trying to track your statistics across multiple CTFs, then you want to track it from, you want to create the item in the library and deploy it from the library. And then be aware that if you change it, once it's deployed into an individual CTF, we don't cascade that change back up to the library and then back down to all your other CTFs. Once the library item's been imported, it has its own instantiation, and we keep a link of it to the library to update stats as long as it looks like it's the same challenge. But if it deviates, we don't go and cascade that change to everybody else or your other CTFs. It means that your challenge now becomes its own independent entity inside of the CTF. And if that's actually a change that you wanted to save permanently, then you'd want to edit the library item itself directly, or you could make the change and import it back up into the library with a new name, or you can really do it the same name, but at that point it's you'd have to check and see which one was the one that you intend to deploy from then on. So the statistics are there to help you, but we want to make that clear that, you know, you can even do this to our own library items. You can import a global library item, make changes to it, and then export it back up as a personal library entry. So, you know, we give you starting points, but it doesn't mean that you have to use our items. And you know, our global library items are going to be shared by hundreds of instructors. So the statistics there might not be as useful as some of your personal challenge. Like if you made your own copy and you want to check your own students, that'd probably be a little bit better if you're trying to get statistical information on your students specifically across multiple courses or sections.
The other thing is sort of, we want to track stale challenges. You know, if in the library, if you see something with statistics like, you know, it's shown up in like 300 or competitions, you're like, I think everyone here has probably answered this one already, so we're not going to use it anymore, sort of.
And to clarify one of the questions that came in, so when you upload a challenge to the library, that's owned by you. So that's your library challenge. Nobody else will see that. If you want to make challenges for us to redistribute to other instructors, then work with us. I've said before, we're happy to get help with making challenges that we can then redistribute to the state. And probably also onto the USI branch as well. But we need to work with you so that we can make sure that it's a challenge that we can host and is appropriate for us to host, and then to set it up in such a way that it's available for everybody. There's a question on sorting challenges on the challenges page. Do you want to field that?
I think you can just move them around. Maybe.
Yep. I believe that, yeah, you change the order that you want to appear, and that's, so you can change the ordering of the category titles, but once you're within the category, within a category, it's always sorted by point values. So you can change the order that they appear at the top, if that's what you'd like.
Greg, I was able to sort them by moving, but it might not be meant to be having everyone sorting at the same time. So
I was just thinking
refresh
that
your page and that might be messing it up.
if you're on here alone and you're moving the categories around, I'm sure they'll appear as exactly, but I'm sure we've all just changed the order. Typically, oh, did I mention okay, so I think I may have skipped over it. Did I mention how, so an instructor will automatically be a CTF admin when they join, but it's important to know that, at least in this first iteration, that TAs will also be admins. So I know there's course users can have various permissions, but the TAs will be CTF admins also, so you can enlist some help from some of your students to spin up challenges.
So on the question of like comparison to CTFD and import export, there currently is not an import export sharing kind of feature. You can save your items to the library. If you're interested in actually sharing your challenges with other instructors, please let us know that that's a feature request that you liked out of CTFD. In a lot of cases, we felt like we were instructors wanted us to set up their CTF and provide challenges for them, and there hasn't been a lot of demand on sharing the challenges, but we are happy to add features that people need.
So it is about, I got 412. So I know, like I said, I'm going to leave this up for a few days. It'll be unavailable by the end of the week, I think. But Dr. Raymond will be announcing CTF winners and kind of closing remarks in 3 minutes. I'm probably going to head over there.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
And if anyone else has follow-up questions, feel free to try and use the Whova chat and Q&A. I'm myself, I'm probably going to be monitoring that for the next day or two. And
Thank you for attending the session.